2023 is almost here, guys, and I'm so excited. I was so excited to see this topic on the to-do list this week, and we are going to start 2023 off right, and it's going to take a lot of work, so you will need paper and pen, and a lot of it for this episode. Welcome to episode 103 of the Positivity Experience. Let's have a very successful year, 2023. Check it out. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to episode 103 of the Positivity Experience. It is your girl, Lori. Man, am I happy you're here. Huge shout out to all of the newest Patreon members. And on Patreon today, we are talking about borderline personality disorder. So if you struggle with that and you're on the Patreon, you already have that. If you are new here and you want to subscribe to the Patreon, you can do so at www.patreon.com/The Positivity Experience with an X, or you can just go to the description anywhere you're getting this podcast and click on the link and it'll take you right out there and you can subscribe. It is a paid version of the podcast, but over there we're talking about BPD, baby, and my experience with it. So we're going to go down that rabbit hole. But in the meantime, it is almost 2023. Now, time doesn't really exist. Time only exists now. Time is linear. But we as humans, we have things called clocks and calendars. So we do a lot of stuff with 2020, when the new year comes. In this case, it's 2023. A few things we're not going to do. We're not going to make resolutions. We're not going to do, okay, I am going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to get in a bikini this year. I'm going to declutter my house. No, we ain't doing all that. We will, but we're going to do it in a very effective way. If you've heard episode 37 of this podcast, it was on microgoaling. We're going to bring a lot of that into today's episode. And the reason I said have a paper and pen is I want you to start getting ready to write down notes because FYI, in order to have any kind of success, it takes a plan. But before you have a plan, you got to have an idea of what you want in the first place and to know your why. So I want to talk about that. So yes, while we do micro goals and we do day to day, you have to start with the big picture. So here's what I want you to do. And again, I don't want you to do this while you're listening to the podcast. I just want you to either take notes or as we do it and you get prepared to do it, just pause it and then write it down. This should take not just a day. This is going to take you some time because you always have to be willing to put effort into the journey. So this is the year of falling in love with the journey. I don't really care what your end destination is. It's irrelevant to me, but we're going to start with the end destination. So let's say, first what you want to do, going back to that like weight loss and getting in the gym and cleaning the house and starting the new business and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. I just want you to jot down things that you want to accomplish in the new year. Keep in mind, it's only 12 months. You're not going to lose 50 pounds in 12 months and declutter your house and get to the gym and start that new business and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. We're not doing that. We're going to have to bring in these micro goals. So I want you to think of the things because a lot of those things may take you years to accomplish. Starting your business might take you a couple years. So you can put in, hey, the 5-year plan is for me to have my own business, but it's going to take me various steps. What kind? Do I want to be an LLC? Do I want to be sole proprietor? Do I want to have a partnership? There's a lot that comes into it. Okay. As a person who has, a couple different LLCs, and I can tell you there's a lot that goes into it, and it can't just be a fly by the seat of your pants just because you want it. So first and foremost, I want you to, and again, you're going to pause, but just write this down so you know, hey, write down what my goals are. Yeah, let's do goals. Yeah, write down what my goals are for 2023. They have to be attainable. They have to be reasonable, and they cannot, this is the key, be out of desperation. Oh, I just got to lose those 20 pounds. Nope. It's like manifesting with a sense of desperation. That's never going to serve your best and highest good, and it's never going to work that way. So you can write things down. For me is to continue to be 4 episodes ahead, which I'm not there yet, but I will be before the ends of these next 2 weeks. 4 episodes ahead of my podcast at all times, of both of them, this one and the Patreon. That means that there's a lot of work there. That means I have to put it into my schedule. I have to be able to research what topics I want. I have to be able to put an active plan in there. I have to be able to, so I have to keep that in mind, but we're not doing that yet. I'm just putting, hey, be a month ahead of with all my podcasts. And the same thing with a lot of my content, maybe not a full month, but, have a better strategy. So let's say mine is content strategy. Yours might be something else. Mine's also like, save up a little bit of money as best that I can, so I have some things. I'm not going to share all of them because they're very personal to me, but I want you to first and foremost write down what it is that you want to accomplish in 2023. Okay. So that's step one. And spend time on it. Don't just grab a pen and paper and just write things down without thinking. Mindfulness. What kind of intention are you going to have? Okay. So again, I don't want you losing weight just because you want to look good in a bikini. That's secondary. Lose weight because you want to feel good. And do so without thinking that that's going to make you happy. Don't lose weight to make you happy. Lose weight to make you feel good. So get clear in your intention. Why do you want to start a new business? Ooh, I want to have a lot of money. Wrong reason. Always going to be a wrong reason. That money has to be a secondary to why you want to do it. It has to come from a passion. If you guys are my clients, or if you've even heard me for more than 5 minutes, I adore my profession. It saved my life. And then to be able to help other people find themselves, it is priceless to me. It is a passion. And that's always going to be my number one, is I have that fire in my soul for it. Money is going to be secondary, but it is still a requirement because it's fair exchange. I know my worth. And so I know what I need to do, right? If it's changing the pricing, I'm going to do whatever I need to do for me, what works for me, and then build the ship and they come. If they come, they come. If they don't, they don't, right? So you have to be clear in your intent with these things. Okay. So now what are we going to do about it? Well, we're not going to plan just weekly. We are going to plan the whole year, but we're going to do it from a microgoals perspective. So now we know what you want to, now this has taken time because you've had to sit and you've had to analyze and you've had to really put in a realistic expectation. With weight loss, if that's your thing, 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's it. And you can't just say, I'm going to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Okay. So first of all, let's say you do that math. Let's say you do 1 to 2 pounds a week. Let's say you do 1 pound a week. That's 20 weeks. Right? That's 5 months. I understand that seems long. If you're desperate, it's not going to matter anyway. We're not doing desperation. So how are you going to plan it? What are things? So now you say, okay, good. This is where we do microgoaling. 1 pound a week. You have your calendar for the year. Get a big old calendar for the year. By this date and add 2 weeks. So if you go 5 months, add 5.5 months. Always add 2 weeks because there might be a week that you fall off. You might be whatever. Always put in a cushion. Stop cutting yourself down to that extent wire. Okay. So now you say, good. Now what am I going to do to get there? You're not going to do this whole thing where you go, well, I'm going to cut out my carbs. I'm going to go on a 1,200 calorie diet. I'm going to work myself out in the gym to oblivion. No, no, and no. We all know outside of the Mediterranean diet, which is a way of life, I will never personally recommend a diet. If you have diabetes, yes, you might have more of a keto type way of living, but I'm never going to subscribe to that. I'm never going to, yes, calorie deficit is great, but I'm never going to subscribe to just a 1,200 calorie diet. It's just never going to be something that I recommend for my clients. Right? Unless there's a dietary restriction that needs to happen for some odd reason, like a health reason. So you say, okay, well, I'm not going to be desperate and have an unhealthy relationship with food. So I'm going to do meal planning. Okay. But that's still not even enough. Well, what kind of meal planning are you going to do? I'm not asking you to make your whole menu for the next 52 weeks. But when you say, okay, well, I want to eat healthier, what does that even mean to you? Well, I want to have a little bit more nutrients. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm not going to have a Snickers. I said I want more nutrients. But it's still okay to have that Snickers. So you can say, okay, I'm going to create a balance with food. So how are you going to create that balance of food? Well, I'm going to learn more about the nutritional aspect of it. See, that's what I'm saying. You have to be willing to do the research to get the outcome in which you seek. So when I tell you it's micro goals, it's you saying, okay, 5.5 months, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do so by learning more about the nutritional factors of my food and accepting a cheat day. Oh, what are some cool foods I want to eat? Like get into it, build that. But you got to create it. If you have things that you need to take care of, you plan that out. You put that plan into motion. You put the end date as a date, and then you work backwards from there. And it's always micro goals. Go out and listen to that. I don't want to get too deep into the micro goals. Go to episode 37. There's an entire podcast on how you can strategize. And if you're on the Patreon, there's the one on the Pomodoro technique that goes hand in hand with it, right? So there's 2 really good resources that's already recorded for you to go listen to. So now you've done that. So like, for example, you've now said, I want to, on your list, it's to declutter. Okay. Here's the thing. If I sent somebody in to declutter, a professional person to declutter, clean your house, organize you to the hilt, it's not going to maintain because you have no system. So we're going to do a compound system. So let's say, and I just did this with a client this week. So let's say you're going to go into the kitchen. Okay. Now with your pad of paper, you're going to say, okay, I want to declutter the kitchen. Give yourself a month. You heard me. I said a month, not a weekend, a month. Yep. A full on month. And you're going to look and you say, first of all, and top of all of these goals, why do you want to do them? Well, I think I would feel better with that declutter. Yes, it's psychologically proven. That's cool. So we know this is for a mental space, a mental peace, feel more organized, yada, yada, yada. Great. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the stuff that you've learned from the microgoals and the Pomodoro technique, and you're going to incorporate this here. And you're going to establish, okay, on this time, now granted, things are going to happen. That stuff's going to come up. You might not feel good. You might have something you got to go do. That's why you always build in flexibility. So you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to clean out the pantry today. But what does that mean? You don't just say clean out pantry on Monday. This is why I said it's going to be detailed. This is great for ADHD people. This is a service that like a group. I'm kind of working on a class, like a course to give you, to show you step by step with what we're talking about here, because it's great for people with ADHD, anxiety, things where you can't stay focused. So you don't just, your brain has to have no decision fatigue. Have it written down so you know what you're doing. It's like putting your workout clothes on the step so you know what you're wearing. You don't have to think about it. Same thing with this. So you don't just say, I'm going to declutter my pantry. You say, I'm going to take everything out of my pantry. And you're writing this down. This is under your list. This isn't in your head. Stop doing things in your head because you feel like I'm too lazy to write it down or I don't feel like writing it down. I don't care what you feel like doing. If you want it to be effective, it's also going to teach you how you can maintain what it is that you're doing. You want to maintain this, right? Like you don't want to just feel inspired and get it done and then it goes back to how it was, right? So you got to retrain your brain. So what you've done is you say, okay, so you've written down, I'm going to remove all of the stuff out of the pantry. And again, you're bulleting it. I'm going to wipe it down. I'm going to go through all of the expired food and I'm going to create a system on where I want to put my things. Cool. Now, beside that, that's not good enough. It's a start. Now, how much time do you think that's going to take you? How much time are you willing to commit to it? Maybe it's going to take you 3 days to undo this pantry and put it all back together. Stop making it seem like you got to do it all in one day. It's never going to work that way, and it's going to create overwhelm, and it's going to create anxiety for you, and it's going to be a problem. So now you have this list together, and you have a start time, a start date, what you want to do. Now, you still have the rest of the kitchen that looks like a nightmare, but we're only focused on this and accomplishing that task. Don't do that thing where you start this task and then take it to the bathroom and now you have to clean the bathroom. We're not doing that. So what you want to do is you want to be able to get a laundry basket, set it on your counter or whatever, or some kind of a basket, and put anything that doesn't belong in the kitchen. I mean, I don't know why anything else would be in the pantry, but who knows? Let's say you have shampoo in the pantry for whatever reason, you accidentally put it there. Don't leave and go to the bathroom. Put it in this little basket, and when you're done your tasks, you can take this basket and discard it or put everything where it needs to be. Okay? But don't do it till the end of the thing. Once you get this done, now you want to add to this task list every whatever day, Monday, Saturday, Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm going to go through the pantry. It's going to take me 15 minutes, not go through it, but like look at the pantry. Is everything back where I wanted it? You schedule it on your time. If you're not going to be self-disciplined, this isn't going to matter. But you do this even when you don't feel like it. I'm tired. I had a busy week. I don't feel like doing this. Don't care. What you're doing is you're training your brain. We're going to compound it. So let's say you say Sundays from 10 to 10:15, I'm going to do the pantry. And yes, you have to be very specific with yourself. Then you get up, you set your timer, you do the pantry. It's going to be much easier. The more you do it, you're going to be able to like lower that amount. It's not going to take you 15 minutes because you'll have a system. And you'll be like, okay, I can put this in here. Let me put this back where it belongs. Let me do this. It also will save you money at the grocery because you're not overspending and overbuying the same thing. So now you have this on your list every Sunday from 10 to 10:15. When in the meantime, you still have other things to do. So you have that written down. It's clean. You're going to wait till next Sunday. You're going to go through it. Cool. Now, your next thing is going to be over the refrigerator where like all your things are. So you say, how long is this going to take me? You take everything out. You wipe everything down. You follow your own schedule. What is your intent behind it? Okay, so let's say that's where you keep all of your appliances that you don't use, okay? Like on a regular basis. There's no need for you to have sudden access to them. Well, do you use them at all? Don't hold on to them because you spent money on them. Give them away. Sell them. Do whatever you need to do. If you're not using it, don't let it sit there and collect dust. It's dumb. I don't care if your grandmother gave it to you. She does not care. She's not rolling over in her grave because you're getting rid of something. Free up that space. If you're not using it, it's just taking up energy that you don't need. So, but let's say you're going to go through all of that. So what's your intentions with it? Well, I'm going to pull everything out. You're writing this down. I'm going to pull everything out. I'm going to wipe down the shelf. I'm going to see if I actually utilize these appliances. What I don't use, I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to do it by doing this. You literally have to microgoal and strategically write down everything for the entire journey of this year. Yes, it might take you several books, but it won't take you that much because you're only doing so based on what your goals are, right? So whatever your goals are this year, it's going to have to be really drilled down to the nuts and bolts of every second. So now you've done that. Okay. So now you say, okay, well, this isn't really a cabinet I need to check in every week. I might check every 6 months, I'll see, did I really use this? And if I didn't, I'm committed to getting rid of what I didn't have, right? So that's not something you have to do on a regular basis. Now let's say, right? So, but you write it down. You say, okay, so in June, I'm going to go back through this cabinet and see if I use everything. Now, next one is going to be, let's say you're like, okay, now I want to do where my pots and pans are. Okay. So mine's underneath where my stovetop is. And so, okay, well, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to pull everything out. You're writing this down. I'm pulling everything out. I'm wiping down the cabinets. That's what pretty much mine all start with. I'm going to go through, do I use it? Is it chipped? Is it broken? Is it still stop salvaging things just because you're like, I don't want to go buy something else. Well, if the Teflon is peeling off, the nonstick stuff is peeling off, it's for your health. Throw the damn thing away and go get yourself another thing. Stop holding on to it because I don't want to spend money. Okay, so you're going to spend more money because you're going to get sick and it's going to be toxic for you. Now you have doctor's times. Now you're not at work. Now you're losing money. Go buy the damn thing. Okay, so you have to be committed to that, and writing that down, it gives you an onus of it. You have ownership of it. So you say, okay, what am I going to do? Do I use it? Is there anything I need to do to it? Cool. Then you have a new system to put back. But let's say, now remember, you do use your pots and pans. So you say, okay, you know what? If Sunday I'm going through the pantry for 15 minutes, I can easily go through and make sure the lids are like how I have them organized and the pans and pots are how I have them organized. What's that? Maybe 10 minutes, maybe less, but put 10 minutes in there. So from 10 to 10:15, you're doing the pantry. From 10:15 to 10:25, you're doing underneath the cabinet. And again, it probably won't take you that long, but it's always good to build in the time. So do you see what I'm saying? So we're not only decluttering, we're creating a system, but you got to hold yourself to it. If you're preparing your clothes for the week, for the rest of the year, right? Obviously, you're not going to prepare your clothes for the rest of the year, but every week, you better have that on the calendar. Okay, Sunday. So you go through all 52 Sundays and you say, this is from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., I iron my clothes. And yes, you write it on that calendar for the next 52 weeks. The next 52 weeks, you write that down. So when I tell you you're creating a system, you must hold yourself to that. You don't just do it paycheck to paycheck, week to week. You have to do it the whole year. So it's a good one for the closet. Now, this one can take some time, but you got to write it down every step you're going to take. Right? And you're going to take everything out of your closet like you would for Marie Kondo. And as you're going through your things, right, then you're going to put your hangers backwards. And as you wear things, you're going to put them on the right way, however you consider the right way. All right? And then every month on your calendar, every Saturday night, you go through and you say, now I don't mean your seasonal stuff. You're not going to wear summer stuff in the winter, right? But let's say it's been a season or, it's been that month. And you realize, daggone, I haven't even worn this. Well, why am I holding on to it? Why? These are my gold jeans. Get rid of them. Oh, this is that sweater I had when I was in 11th grade and I loved it. Get rid of it. Repurpose, or donate. Sometimes I do I'm sure you guys have them too, but the trash bins, but they're not trash bins. They're for clothes. Yeah, every month I'll go through my stuff and I'll go like, wow, you know what? As much as I like that, I didn't wear that all month. Like, why am I sitting here holding on to this? Right? So again, though, you have to write it down and strategize it for yourself. Okay, so what is your plan? Well, you're writing it down. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to vacuum inside of it. I'm going to go through each pair of my shoes. Do I wear them? Do they fit? I'm going to try on every pair of my pants. That's right. You heard me. I'm going to try on every pair of my pants. Do they fit me? Am I just holding out for when they're going to fit me? Get rid of them and write that down. Commit to that. So what you're doing is you're creating the year-long blueprint, and you're giving and yes, this might take you till the middle of January to really get it fully done. And that's fine. There's no hurry. There's no sense of urgency to have it done by the 1st. Okay. Stop with that. That's silly. But as you do that, yes, you're going to have to put in the effort. You're going to have to sacrifice some TV time. You're going to have to sacrifice some different time. But once you have that system in place, you can look at it and go, okay, I don't feel like doing this, but you know what? I'm going to do it. Because it's giving you a blueprint for the year. What you don't do is go do a vision board and put a new car on there, a new house on there, more money in the bank on there. No, that isn't going to happen for some time. You put your strategies on there. You put your slow steps. You put your micro goals on there. That's what you put on a vision board. You don't put on the end goal on a vision board. You can, but that's fine. Put that new car up there. Now, what steps are you going to take to get there? Well, I'm going to pay some things off. Cool. Now we're talking. You can have that car as your end goal, but how you going to do it? The universe doesn't go, oh my God, Beth totally put that on there. I think I'm going to drop her by a car today. Never going to happen. See, you have to be committed to doing the work. It's the same with manifestations. You don't just put something out into the universe and just falls in your lap. Never going to work that way. The opportunity for you to do the steps that you need to take are going to be there. That's what you want. You want to manifest the opportunities to do the work. So then you can then get that outcome. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Does it change and rewire your decluttering techniques and your skills? Yes. Is that important for you? There's a lot of areas I need to declutter, would like to declutter. That's not going to go on my list this year. I might have one room, maybe two. It's not important enough for me. I have other things that are more important. So that brings me to the next step. What is the priority of these things? You can't have decluttering, weight loss, starting a business, doing this, doing that, all as these top priorities. Wrong. What is the most important thing for you? So you need to prioritize it. Then when you prioritize it, then that's where you start saying, okay, well, January, this needs to happen. These are the steps I'm going to take to make it happen. And again, everything you do must be pen to pad. Don't get slick and try to speak it into your phone and speak notes it and throw it into your iPad and all that stuff. I understand you have a pencil on your iPad. Pen to paper. Get a 5-subject notebook. Get 2 of them if you have 10 goals. And that's another thing. Stop making 27 goals for this year. Hard pass. Maybe 5, but sometimes maybe 2, maybe 1. Because how many steps are you going to take? If you're starting a new business, hell, that might be the only goal of this year. And maybe doing more meditation and being committed to your journals. You could always have that be on there. But then what's your strategy for the journals? What time are you going to do your journals? Don't just say, oh, I'm going to wake up. Really? Do you have it written down on your calendar? See, you have to treat yourself like you would anybody else. If you make a dentist appointment and you don't show up to it, you don't call, you don't reschedule, you don't show up, they're going to send you a bill. They're going to make you pay for not showing up because, hey, it's how we roll. It's how they're supposed to do. So why are you holding yourself to a different standard? If you're trying to feel better, you have to hold your feet to the flame. So you get a big old calendar. And I have I'm looking at mine. I have mine, the ones like you would see that might be like a teacher planner, but mine goes even more in depth. I got little stickers on it and stuff because your brain works on checking things off. So that's why you have to be realistic. So this beginning planning phase might take you a month before you even take action. Be willing to be committed to the grunt work. If you are not committed to the grunt work, you are not going to maintain your actions. You're going to feel overwhelmed. Proven psychologically, you will feel overwhelmed. You will not meet these goals. So I guess you have to ask yourself, how committed are you to doing this, right? Doing checklists and task lists are great, but that is not enough to really sustain this and then change that behavior. To rewrite and change a behavior, we have to give it something where you're not thinking. So again, you've gone through your whole kitchen. You've gone through underneath the sink. Like let's say you've gotten through that month. Well, now you spend an hour, maybe on Sunday, maybe 45 minutes on Sunday, going through your checklist that you've written down, that you've gone through your checklist, you've gone through the pantry. Now you have a whole new system. Now, when you're buying your groceries, you're like, you know what? I could save time. Let me just put my groceries. Let me just organize these now. So then on Sunday, I don't have to do as much. Well, guess what you've just done? You've created a whole new system. Okay, on Friday nights, assuming I'm home on Fridays. If I'm not home on Fridays, I do Saturday morning. I go through my refrigerator. I take everything out. That's right. Every week. Everything out. Wipe everything down. It might seem mundane, but if I don't do that, I'm going to fall back into an old thought pattern behavior of letting last week's lettuce, poor lettuce, me go get the lettuce, just look at it and go, I'm sorry, baby, you're getting ready to die in the back of my refrigerator. Well, this will prevent that. And then I have my meal planning. So then my meal planning prevents me from buying that lettuce that week if I'm not even going to have a salad. So do you see how that gives you the power, and it changes that thought pattern of, well, I can't do this. I'm always quitting. I'm always giving up. Oh, I guess so. You don't have any strategy. It's your strategy. Don't think that everybody in the house has to do this. This is what you're doing. So just remember, these are your goals, not the house goals. Not everybody in the house. They don't have to jump on board with your goals. These are things for you to do. Okay? So you have to be realistic and you have to sit with attainability in it. So if you have to get your passport, which I now have to write that down because that just jumped in my head for my daughter. Mine's fine, but hers needs to be redone before May. And I have plenty of time. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on for the second week because my first week is pretty booked with things that I have to do for to meet my goals. But I have like a little area. It doesn't take long. I just have to send off her stuff and everything. So I do need to put that down. So I know it's going to take a few months. And that's fine. If I do it, I'm not chasing anything. And I know it's going to take me about a half hour to 45 minutes. So I'm going to put it in for an hour. See how I like to build in time? And I make sure I send out her birth certificate, make sure I have everything, send her old passport, all of the things that they make you do. Have to go get her a new picture taken. So that's going to be part of that 45 minutes to an hour. And so write that down. If it's getting a new license, if it's getting a new passport, put a plan down. And how are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to do this. No, it's not good enough just to do one thing. So when you do that, I promise you, as a person who has ADHD, I promise you those systems that come into place becomes those automatic habits of the negative habits that you have right now. Why is it easy to do the negative habits? Because you don't have any thought process to it. You know how to do that. So in order to change that to where you're not holding and hoarding a bunch of stuff, right? Because we all do that from time to time. You got to have a new strategy. So it's not just good enough to say, I'm going to declutter the pantry and I'm going to do this. Okay, well then what's the strategy after that? Yes, you don't wait and write the strategy down after you clean it. You write that strategy down on what you're going to do before you've even done it. That's why it might take a month to do all of this planning. So schedule accordingly. Don't overthink this process. It takes a lot and it takes some effort. But I think you're committed to it, right? Or you wouldn't, complain about it all the time. You can't complain about it and then not do anything about it. And the first of the year is always a nightmare because people go into this whole, I'm going to be the best version of me this year. Okay, the best version of you needs to just be consistent. Let's just go for that. And let's not I'm cutting this out and I'm doing this. And oh my God, no, skirt, notch that back. Realistic, attainable goals. I call it the RAG. Not like what we're thinking, but realistic, attainable goals. So that's going to be your homework, right? And this should be something you're working on for a while because it's going to take you time. You have to get the big calendar. You also have to have your little paper. So, I'm the queen of writing stuff down. Listen, I know it's all about, hey, you save trees. I hear you. But in this case, right now, we're saving our mental health. So you need to be committed to doing it because it also helps you understand who you are and the things that you really want. Because since you're putting all this effort in and it's not just writing stuff down, it's a plan, you might find, oh, damn, I thought that was important to me. Maybe it's not important to me. Maybe I want to focus my energy here. So it's also forcing you to be mindful. It's forcing you to have intent. It's forcing you to go into something with a plan. Because if you just have a goal without a plan, it's just a dream. And if you don't have a detail-oriented plan that's going to be actionable, again, just a dream. And remember, these are your goals, not house goals, not husband goals, not spouse goals, not kid goals, your goals. It's all about you. So what else is that doing? It's forcing you to look at self. So if you're going to do your self-love, make sure your journals are in there. How are you going to do them? Every single day, 365 days a year. Where are you going to put that in? The time is there. This maximizes your time. And yes, when you go on vacation, don't do anything. Do whatever you want. Like you can't always be self-helping. So you got to build in that time. So like when I do my crochet and everything, I don't have anything. I have no other anticipation on doing anything but crochet. Maybe have some TV in the background. Stay off your social medias. Build in, I'm telling you, I used to do an hour. I do 45 minutes at best, minus my Sunday and Tuesday lives. Get off of your socials. It's not that deep. Commit to doing X amount of time. Do whatever you need to do. You can have the discipline if you have a strategy for it. I don't have any of my notifications on, by the way. So if you're like, oh, other than maybe text. If you're like, oh, I sent you this. Okay, I didn't see it on my Instagram because I'd only have that on my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube. That is not a notification for me. I can only see it when I go into the app. I have zero desire to have my ringer on. I have zero desire to have any of that because all that does is a distraction. I want to take away that distraction. So you got to set yourself up for success. Don't just wish it's going to happen. Hell, that's never going to happen. So I feel like that's a good thing for you to start on. And I wanted to give it to you this week because then that gives you a full-on month or so to get this 2023 rolling. It's hard, but it's only hard if you tell yourself it's hard. It's not hard. It's just commitment. Are you committed to doing it this way? Because it hasn't worked in the past. So try something new. And it's going to give you the tools that you need to actually make it a habit. And the most important thing is a brand new way of life. And it's going to free up so much more time that you can really do the things that you really want to do. Happy 2023. Check it out.